You're being pretty sly right now, Laurel. Huh? I hear that you went and divorced Jim, right? If that's the case, then you need to hurry up and get out of his house. Who is this again? Even if you and I perhaps talked a little bit before, this is your first time ever texting with me, so you should at least tell me who you are before starting the conversation. Considering you and Jim had your divorce, an ex-wife like you has no right knowing who I am. Well, if I have no right knowing your name, then you have no right coming to me like this and saying all of these things to me. Now, if you're not going to tell me who you are, then I'm going to have no choice but to block you, and then we won't ever have to talk to one another again. I guess I have no other choice. My name is Ivy, and I happen to be Jim's girlfriend. Huh? His girlfriend? Does that mean, in other words, Jim has been cheating on me with someone else this whole entire time? What? Oh, how mean of you. Jim and I... The relationship he and I have had with one another is too beautiful to be labeled as such a shallow and impure thing like cheating. Really? Is that right? However, what you just told me is known to everybody else in the world as cheating, considering he had still been married to me until very recently. But I'm telling you, he was not cheating on you with me, so stop trying to make it seem like all this has ever been is an affair. Well, to be frank, I really don't care what you call it. Huh? You really don't care? Since I have nothing to do with either one of you and never really did, how you go about calling the relationship you both had with one another while he was married to me doesn't matter. I don't care what you call it. Really, all I've noticed so far by this conversation is that it's a complete and total waste of my time right now, and that you are just annoying me is all. What the hell was that? If you don't give a crap about this conversation or about Jim and I, then get the hell out of his house. Starting today, this place is Jim's and mine to live and love one another in. This place? Where exactly is this place you're speaking of? I'm right in front of the house that you're supposed to be living in right now, but instead have been squatting inside of like a sly little rat. What? You really are. I just took a look out front and I saw a trespassing girl with a bag in her hand standing right in front of our door. Who the hell are you calling a trespassing girl? If you're going to start calling me that, then that means you've gone and broken and entered into my house and should be kicked out. But this is my own house I'm sitting in. No, it's not. That house is for Jim and I. That is supposed to be the house that Jim and I can start making love to one another in while we start our very own family. So hurry the hell up and get out. All of your crap inside that house is worthless to us, so make sure you take it all with you. There'd better not be a single piece of trash in there when I move in. Now, you work on getting out of that house, okay? All right then. Understood. But currently, Jim is not here. What? Why isn't he home today? We only just got divorced from one another yesterday, but he had already had things planned out for today, so he left. And I believe when it comes to him moving into his new place and all of that, he's going to be doing that this weekend. What the hell? So that's what's going on here? Well, if he's not home today, then I don't really have to bother with you now. I'll be going back to my place this time. However, I'll only allow you to be in my house until this weekend, and then after that, you need to be out of there before I'm back and ready to move in all of my things. Jim, do you have a moment to talk?
Oh, it's you, Laurel. I thought we spoke about how we wouldn't really be talking to one another anymore, unless there was an emergency or something. Did something happen to the house or my things since I left?
There was a woman at the house today claiming to be your girlfriend, Jim.
Huh? What do you mean by that? I get that you and I just had a divorce and everything, but that doesn't mean I've already made myself a girlfriend.
I get that, okay? I don't think someone as stupid and stubborn as you could ever be able to keep a girlfriend like her a secret from me while we were married, nor make her your girlfriend that quickly after leaving me. So relax.
Ah, right. As long as you understand that I didn't know her, we're good. Thanks. Do you mind telling me everything you know about that woman, in case I know her from somewhere?
Well, she had semi-long hair, and her name is Ivy. At least, that's what she called herself.
Ivy?
Do you know who she is, then?
As long as it isn't someone else with the same name as the girl I remember. That Ivy is a classmate I had from elementary school all the way until the end of high school. Most of the time I really only knew her to be this basic girl, but in high school I found out that she was actually the daughter of this really wealthy CEO. She would always go around saying that all the men at school loved her and that she was the best woman ever. I'm not sure why, but she has a lot of confidence in herself. I know this may sound mean, but she was the most annoying person I can remember from school. Ever since we graduated from high school, the only other time we ran into one another was at a class reunion that was held during my college years.
Someone as shallow and annoying as her is back looking for you now?
If I were to think about what might have brought her all the way out to me, it might have to do with the fact that our moms were good friends back in the day, so we would see one another a lot. As far as I'm aware, both of our moms are still actually friends with one another and tend to hang out a lot. To me, all Ivy ever was a really annoying classmate, and there was never anything back then that we did together. However, I do remember hearing from my mom back in elementary school that Ivy had this dream about marrying people from class, and she ended up marrying me of all people. I mean, this has to be so far-fetched, but do you think she might be back around me now because of that dream?
Considering the type of woman I was having to talk with today over text, that sounds like the kind of thing that's happening with her. Actually, there is something that your mom said to me back when we had first gotten married. It was something along the lines of her saying that there was a girl who she viewed as her daughter that she really believed you'd be getting married to. And she said that to me in a very hateful and upset kind of tone at the time.
Wait, something like that was said to you by her?
Based on what you've said to me, I can tell now who your mom had been talking about back then.
I'm so sorry about what my mom had said to you.
Don't bother apologizing for that now. It happened years and years ago.
I know, but...
Right now, though, I really don't want to be getting wrapped up in whatever kind of situation that Ivy woman wants to have with you. So could you please do something about her, and perhaps your mom as well, if she has anything to do with this?
I can. Don't worry. It's crazy that someone as annoying as her would be coming back into my life at a time like now, but I'll figure out some way to get her out of here. When I have some good news for you regarding her, I'll make sure to send you a text with the info.
Please and thank you.
But there is one small problem here. I never once gave Ivy my phone number in the past, and I've even changed it a few times since the last time I ran into her.
Wait, is that so?
I'm gonna assume that it was my mom who went and gave my current number to her.
That would mean it was your mom who went and told her about who I am and what happened between you and I.
When it comes to my mom, you're more than welcome to block her number as well as anyone else in my family's number. I'll make sure to handle all of this for you now.
I'll go ahead and block them all right now. Good luck with the cleanup, Jim. Jim! It's been such a long time since I last saw you. Oh, this is your newly found fiancée, Ivy.
What? Then does that mean you went and got my number and everything from my mom?
That's right. Wouldn't it be strange for your fiancé to not even have your number or know much about your current situation? So I went and had her tell me everything.
Wait, you hold on a second there. The last time you and I ever met one another was years and years ago at that class reunion when we were still in college, right? And after that, even if we saw one another, we never said a word to each other and just carried on with our lives. I get that our moms may still be very good friends with one another to this day, but that doesn't mean you and I have ever had anything with one another. So what the heck do you think you're doing, calling yourself my fiancé now?
Come on, I can tell that you're getting all nervous and are blushing right now.
What?
I know already, Jim. I know about how you went to that really good college for me and that you aim to find a job within a really large and famous company with a heavy salary to prepare for your future with me. And you have been working so hard at that company now, climbing up the company ladder, all for me. But while you've been going through all that hard work doing your best for me, I've been with other men and even married one of them. That really broke your heart to see and was terrible for you. So you went and married a woman of your own, that Laurel bitch. And this whole time since you've married her, you've been regretting it all, right? But then you found out about how I went and had that divorce with my husband. And that's why you went and divorced Laurel as quickly as you could, so that you'd be ready for me to move in and marry you, right?
What?
Right? I'm totally right about all of this, aren't I? Well, this was all told to me by your mom of all people. You should have been with your mom at the time she told me all of that, because I was moved so dramatically and knew I had to come to you.
This is the first time I'm hearing about you having gotten married and having gotten divorced.
No way. You're going to joke around with me like that again, Jim? It's totally fine for you to just open up to me now and show me all the feelings you've had all along, okay? I'm telling you, I don't care that you ended up marrying another woman like that when you were getting so jealous of all the men I was with, and I forgive you for it. Now, this weekend, I'll be coming over to your house again to start moving in with you. Around that time, Laurel should be moving out of the house for good, so you and I can head to the courthouse right after I've dropped off all my stuff and get married to each other. This is going to be the start of our happy life together as husband and wife, all right?
That was freaking awful, Laurel.
What happened?
About Ivy, man. She just started to text me out of nowhere, you know?
Ah, so that really does mean that your mom went and told her your number, right?
She told me that herself when I had asked.
So can you go into detail about what all was so awful about her? Besides the things I very much know now.
Having to explain all of it to you is going to be a bit difficult for me because it's so far out there in terms of madness. You know what? I'm going to just send you screenshots of everything, all right? I think that would be easier on me and would be better for you to fully understand everything.
Sounds good. Man, this is all so hard for me to read through right now because of how cringy it all is.
Now that I've gone ahead and seen it all, I think this was the best time for it. Had she come over a day earlier or whatever, I would have had to see her in person, and I don't even want to know what the hell that could be like.
Very true.
As for you, Laurel, things have all come to this now, and I would hate for you to have to deal with that chick any more than you've already had to, so how about you work on those plans you'd made up before and take care of your business right now? I've already finished all of my prep and I'm ready to get going.
Good point. I guess it's about time I wrap all of what I had planned out up. Thanks for mentioning that, as well as showing me these screenshots. I'm going to call my company, and depending on what they say, I'll try to get things moving along by Friday. Hey, what the hell is all of this? Laurel, this is nothing at all like the promise you had made to me before. What? Did you and I ever make a promise with one another before today? About this house, we sure did. We made the promise that you would be out of this house by the weekend, right? Well, right now it's the start of that weekend we talked about before, and yet that promise you made to me wasn't upheld. If that's what you're referring to right now, I made sure to leave the house on Friday. I don't care about when you left the house, you idiot! Then why are your panties in such a twist? Things like all the furniture that was in here and all of the appliances that were in here. There is nothing left anymore as all of those things have disappeared. There is literally nothing left in this house for me anymore. I never told you that you could take things like the furniture and the appliances that were supposed to be mine with you. Could you hold on for just a second there, please? If you're able to tell me all of those things about the inside of the house right now, does that mean you're actually inside the place? Well, of course I'm in the house. Starting today, the place is mine, according to that promise. And how exactly were you able to open any of the doors without a key? I got a spare key from Jim's mom, for crying out loud. We told that woman to give back all of those keys she went and had made without ever asking for permission to. Yet she still had some left over, huh? Huh? Listen, you'd better start explaining things to me right now so that I can understand what's going on here. All right. Starting with the conclusion to everything regarding the house, it belongs to a realty company now and is no longer mine. Huh? Maybe it's because I asked them to take it off my hands earlier than I had first planned on selling them the place by. They weren't able to change any of the locks yet. I'll have to give them a call about that. As for most of the older furniture and appliances that I had, I rented a dumpster and had them all tossed and taken to the dump. And anything that was in better shape and had some value to it still, I made sure to sell to the pawn shop down the road. Why would you do all of that? Well, I never planned on going back to that house once I was already out, and since the place I've moved into already has furniture and everything for me, there was no real reason to keep any of it. You get what I'm saying? What do you think you're doing, selling and tossing out all my things without my permission, though? Are you some kind of a mentally disabled criminal or something? How dare you go out selling someone else's things like that and then tossing all the rest when they weren't even yours? The name on that house before I sold it was always mine and never anybody else's, okay? Huh? And actually, before I had taken it over, it was my mom's house. And before her, it belonged to my grandparents. But after a lot of things ended up happening in the family, the house was eventually given to me and my name was put on it. That happened at about the same time I got married to Jim, and so we went and spiffed the place up a bit and then made it our first home together. What? Is what you just said there really true? It sure is. Very much the truth, actually. And if I really wasn't the owner of that house the whole time, then how would I have been able to sell it so easily? Hold on a second. If that's the case and this house is no longer ours, then where are Jim and I supposed to go and live? You're asking me that question? Oh, by the way, could you cut all of that talk about you and Jim being a thing out now? He's not your fiancé, and he never said that he wanted to marry you either. Huh? What's wrong with me calling myself his fiancé when I am literally his fiancé? Well, the problem with that is Jim and I are planning to get remarried soon and can't have you running around saying you're his fiancé. You guys are going to get remarried to one another? Right now is a better time than any to tell you about this story, so I'm gonna do that right now. The divorce we both had is only meant to last a little bit. Huh? Your divorce is only meant to last a little bit? What does that mean? Wait. Tell me what the hell that actually means. Since you and I have never actually met one another in person before, you're probably unaware of the kind of body that I have. In other words, the state of health that I'm in right now. But due to Jim's mom always harassing me, she ended up causing me to get really injured after pushing me down a flight of stairs on purpose. What? Most of the injuries are healed now, but a lot of the worse ones that ended up happening deeper inside of me are still healing, and that means it's a rough time for me still. And a week after having been assaulted, basically, by her, I wanted to get a settlement and call the police on her with the help of Jim, but she wouldn't have that and all and threw so many fits. Jim and I really talked about things after we couldn't get past his mom, and eventually he told me he didn't even want to be a part of her family anymore. And so he and I got a divorce in the hopes that by getting remarried to one another, he can take my family's name and relinquish his mom's. In other words, he's going to have your last name? One night only. See this as us taking too many steps to not really achieve anything more than we already had. But to my parents, they would like to view him as their son, and considering we all want him to escape from his toxic mom and never have to be reminded of her, we all agreed that we'd let him have my family's name. There were, of course, other ways to change his last name without the divorce and all of that, but it would have taken longer for that to happen, and so divorce and then remarrying sounded like the best option. So we made sure to tell the courthouse and the clerk about what was going to happen and that we'd get divorced, fill out a bunch of new paperwork with his last name being made mine, and then we'd get remarried. Then you both getting that divorce was all for... That's right. It was giving him the chance to take himself out of his mom's family and place himself into mine instead. We plan to have this marriage completed when things have calmed down and we're all moved in. Are you kidding me? The only thing that happened during all of this that we weren't expecting was Jim's mom saying that we had gotten divorced because he was in love with her longtime friend's daughter, and that you were to marry him next. Basically, she made up a bunch of lies about Jim and I, all so that you'd think you were his fiancé and so that she could have you as a daughter-in-law instead of me. By the way, Jim told his mom just this morning that he was cutting ties to her and that he'd never be talking to her again. Hold on a second. That man you're planning to get remarried to soon? Do you mind letting me have him instead? Excuse me? To make this all short for you, you being able to cut ties with his mom and everything is the best thing for you, right? And since you're already moved into a new place and no longer have to come back to this house, you're off her grid now. So there shouldn't be any issues with him becoming my husband now, right? And by the way, if he were to make me his wife, then he wouldn't have to cut ties with his mom and everyone could be happy again. Look at that. I am definitely the one that should be getting married to him next, since I'm best for his family. All right, that's the plan we're all going to be going with. Where's Jim at right now? If you tell me where he's been staying, I'll go out and get him right away. Did I not just tell you a second ago that this morning he had gone to his mom to tell her that he'd be cutting ties to her and would never speak to her again? What? And right now he's not even in the U.S. anymore. Huh? He and I left today to live overseas for a while. You guys went overseas? After the both of us went and spoke to our respective higher-ups, Jim said a location overseas was in need of some support and could use his help. And mine said that I could work remotely from anywhere that had internet if I really wanted to, so we'll both be fine. Actually, I meant to say that Jim left before me and has been at our new place for a bit now, and I'm still on my way. Well, I'm going to go there right now. You are? You being the only one who gets to go overseas and live a relaxing life as his housewife isn't fair. I'm a better fit for a life like that, and I am going to take it. I did just say that I'm going to be working remotely over there, didn't I? Huh? And it was actually me who had the idea for him to quit his job and let me do all of the work for the two of us, but he shot that idea down. What? But that means you can leave your job, right? Not with the salary reduction he's received for doing this. Huh? If I stopped working my job, we wouldn't be able to sustain ourselves out here. So I have to keep working regardless of whatever he does. What? Now, it's getting time for us to wrap all this up, right? Wait a sec. When I got divorced from my last husband, I accidentally also cut ties to all of my family. And because of that, I was left with nowhere to call home. The idea was that if I could be married to Jim, I would have myself a new husband and a new place to call my home. And the other plan was to ask for Jim to pay for the settlement I still owe my ex-husband after the divorce. Could you stop talking to me about your life already? But, I am on my plane right now and I am ready to leave, which means I'm putting my phone into airplane mode pretty soon here. And considering I'll be going to a completely different country now, I won't be able to use the SIM card I have anymore. Wait a sec! Goodbye. I don't have a house or any money though, Laurel! I only learned this a few days ago, but the reason that Ivy even had to get divorced by her ex in the first place was because she had an affair with another man. She had to break up with that man as well, and that left her with no place to go and sleep. However, when she came across my mother-in-law at the time, she told her that she'd give me a reason to leave her son, and that Ivy could marry him after I was gone. And, well, after having pushed me down those stairs and heard about the divorce Jim and I got not too long after I was kind of healed up, she told Ivy to make her move. What happened after Ivy found out that Jim was far from her reach and I was going to be marrying him, she turned her attention back at Jim's mom in anger. She made an attack on the apartment building that Jim's mom is living in, and there they met and started having this massive brawl in the hallway. But this happened at the end of the hallway, closest to the emergency exit. And when one of them pushed the other through the door, they both stumbled down 5 flights of stairs, breaking all sorts of bones. They're both in the hospital now after having sustained even more serious injuries than I had, and are under investigation by the police now as well. They both don't really have any other family around them willing to help them out with their recovery and finances, and are pretty much done for in terms of their remaining life. Thank you for watching and listening. We hope you enjoyed the video. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe. Also, feel free to leave a comment about what you thought of the story. We look forward to seeing you at the next story.